Justin Charters back in with us from the Independent Journal Review. Justin, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Loved your article on this new coffee company that's kind of bucking Starbucks, so to speak. First of all, I love the name of the coffee company that's bucking Starbucks, but you actually got to talk to the CEO of the Black Rifle Coffee Company.
Absolutely, I did.
So he was motivated by the clearly political stance of Starbucks coffee, and he saw an opportunity and he took it. That's good.
Yeah, he did. I mean, Evan is he's a serial entrepreneur for one. Veteran. He's openly conservative. Black Rifle's been around for a while. I don't know exactly how many years. They're actually located. Their headquarters is here in Utah, where I'm from. Or excuse me, not from, where I live. I almost say from just because I've lived here with my wife for a couple of years. It feels like I'm from here.
There you go.
They've had a pretty conservative stance, I'd say, for the most part, in how they've marketed and just things like that in the past couple of years. And so, I just got to talk to Evan, and he just told me what the vision is. They want to open up 600 stores in the next 6 years, and they've got some pretty heavy hitters as far as people with experience in opening things and managing things of that nature. And we just had a good conversation, and he was very adamant that he wants the people who feel like they've been disenfranchised by Starbucks, because Starbucks has been openly aggressive against conservatives, to come and buy his coffee instead.
Wouldn't bother me if I never got another overpriced cup of coffee from Starbucks, particularly after the CEO said that he's going to hire 10,000 refugees in response to these travel restrictions that Donald Trump put on. So the guy from the Black Rifle Coffee Company is promising to hire 10,000 veterans. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, 10,000 veterans. I think that his goal is to have that accomplished in the next 6 years, just like with his other goals. That's I think it's 5% of what Starbucks has in terms of their employees. I think they've got like 238,000, something of that nature.
Wow. So right now, I went to their website the other day, Black Rifle, and you can apparently order their coffee online, and they also give you links to buy like I guess things for tactical gear and things like that along with the coffee. Not guns. They're not selling guns, but they sell tactical gear as well.
I couldn't tell you too much about that. I know Black Rifle mainly through a veteran named Marty Skovlin. He's a former Army Ranger, and he's a filmmaker. He's got 2 books out. Very, very good guy. I guess you could say he's one of my main friends' connections in the veterans community.
Okay.
He's who connected me to Mr. Hafer. That community, the special operations community, is really pretty small, and for the most part, most people know it's like I know you, you know me kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
That's great. Well, it's a good article, and people can go to the Independent Journal Review to read it. Well, I've got you on here. I want to move on to one other story that you have done recently, dealing with a lady who was born in Nazi Germany. You told me yesterday that you've been busy with the reaction to this story all day long.
Absolutely.
Tell me about this story that you wrote.
Well, I reached out just on my fan page, just Facebook.com/Justen D Charters, Justin with an E. That's not self-promotion or anything, but I reached out and asked if anyone knew anyone who lived in Nazi Germany. I'd read an article from a guy whose dad was an expert on Nazi Germany, and he wasn't from Nazi Germany, just a researcher, and he was just explaining how Trump's not like Hitler, and that's a common narrative that's pushed by quite a bit of people on the left. And I after about 20 people, I found Inga, and Inga wasn't one of my followers; she was just a fan, one of my fans. Knew her, and so I talked to Inga. I verified her story. There was a couple issues though. I didn't add some dates into when this happened or when that happened. So people tried to say it was fake news. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned it because I actually just got off the phone with her about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And I added some edits to her story. And, you know, it makes it very, I guess you could say, ironclad, very hard to discriminate or to criticize. But no, Inga wanted to share her story. It was interesting because I was talking to her and I said, you know, how do you feel about this whole narrative that Trump is like Hitler? And she's like, well, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. She said, but where is this ridiculous, you know, where is this ridiculous coming from? Trump's like Hitler because he wants order? She's like, let me tell you where I see Nazi-like behavior happening. And then she just went off. I mean, just off everywhere. And then people tried to discount her story because she's 77 and she was a child during Nazi Germany. And it was interesting because, you know, she was in the air raid shelter. She actually almost died, and I didn't mention that in the story just because there's only so much you can put in the story. She almost died a few times. One time is when she was in the air raid shelter, and the shelter caved in, but she was saved. And, you know, she's got all these relatives and all these people, and now I've been telling them, I just say, you know, you don't discount a Jewish person's story who lived through the Holocaust. Why would you discount this German woman's story even though she was a child? You can't even imagine some of the things that she went through. And so, you know, it's those tactics, though. It's like Inga says, she's very concerned about the college campuses, the miseducation, the whole let's see all these things from one worldview and no one else's worldview matters. And I think that's one of the reasons there's such reaction. I mean, I think we've got 3 million people who have read it and over 100,000 people have shared it. And it's just, I mean, it's exploding, but more than anything, she's getting support. But she was offended, very offended, that people would think that her story was fake. It would challenge all these things. So for clarity, you know, I added some dates and I added some names of where she was at this point in that. But it was just interesting to see that reaction, someone who disagrees and has that life experience, and then people go, oh, well, you know, this can't be a real story. Independent Journal Review is mainly conservative, you know, or whatever the case is. So
yeah,
ridiculous. Really.
Well, I'm glad that you updated it. I see your updates in there now, and I'm going to post this on my website, a link to it, so people can go there and read it because I think it's well worth the read. Justen Charters, listen, Independent Journal Review. I appreciate your time, and thanks again for your efforts.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. Good talking to you. Appreciate getting him on there. So.